Okay, welcome to how to get 9 times the prospects to raise their hand and ask for more details from you. My name is Tom Matson. I am the Chief Movement Maker at the Embark $1,000,000 Authority, and I'm super excited to present this. I'm going to start with a quote from Grant Cardone. Under promise and over deliver, and you survive. Over promise and then over deliver on that, and you'll change the world. You see, that's the new game. The new game is about shattering expectations. I'm going to start off with this story. And near as I can tell, I was 23 years old. I was living in Calgary at the time. And I had met this Southern gentleman. In my mind, he was a Southern gentleman from Texas. Calgary has more Texans than any city outside of Texas. So it could be true. But in my mind's eye, it was a Texan. And he was in the lock business, the locksmith business. And I was putting together a marketing proposal to help him get more clients. And back then, they had these things called yellow pages. You kids, you'll have to look it up. The old timers out there, you know what a yellow pages are. It's a directory, a physical directory where people would look when they needed anything to buy. In this case, if they had a lock issue and they needed new locks, they would look up in the yellow pages a locksmith and buy it. And I had just gone to a seminar by the world's leading marketing person on yellow page marketing, yellow page advertising. And the entire seminar, he used locksmiths as a perfect example. Every one of his stories all the way through was that. And so I knew I could help this guy dramatically, but I didn't know how to price my services. Back then, I was very young in this marketing consulting world. And so I thought, well, the guy's a veteran entrepreneur. He's going to be tough on me. So I'm going to have to play it close to the vest. And so I said, okay, I wanted to make this. I'm going to ask for this double. And that way, if he negotiates me down, I could still settle in at what I want. And I come in and I present the whole structure and the whole strategy. And he goes, son, you think it's going to work? And I, yes, sir, absolutely. And then he said what you see on the screen. Tell you what, son, I'll pay you double if it does and nothing if it don't. Now, this was double my double. So this was 4 times what I wanted to make. And I knew it would work. Yes, sir, you have a deal. And I shook hands. And 3 months later, the yellow page hit the street in Calgary. It was coming up. And a month after that, he called me into his office and he was so excited. He was giddy with enthusiasm as he paid me 4 times what I wanted for that. And I learned a lesson that I've never forgotten in business. I've made and lost millions along the way, but I've never forgotten that lesson. And that lesson is, if you guarantee results, it's better for them and it's better for you. And so that's what we're going to talk about. But first, a little bit of background for those of you that haven't met me before. I am what I call the Chief Movement Maker at Embark $1,000,000 Authority. I've started, some 82 businesses of my own, 7 of them to 7 figures and beyond. I've made more mistakes than most people make in a lifetime. That is for sure. Made and lost millions many times over. But more importantly, my personal coaching clients have generated more than 100 million in sales in dozens of industries. Our mission at Embark is to empower 10,000 authority entrepreneurs to build global movements and 7- and 8-figure businesses over the next 5 years. And part of the way we're going to do that is by inspiring more people to build in risk reversals. That's what this is all about. We call it risk reversal because you're shifting the risk from your prospect's shoulders to your shoulders. I learned this from my mentor, Jay Abraham, years ago, and I've been using it ever since. That's what he calls it, and it's a great way to think about it because it's not about a guarantee in and of itself. It's about shifting that risk. The first step is to identify the biggest risks your prospects face when working with you. Then you create the boldest possible guarantee you can. Then you figure out how to deliver on that bold guarantee. Then you anurag your plan. I'll tell you about that as we get to it. And then you link your payments to your client's results. And finally, you test and measure. So we're going to drill down in this half hour on each of these 6 strategies so that you can become a master at risk reversal and can dramatically increase the amount of impact, influence, and yes, income you make along the way. Deal? Everyone says deal? Yes, deal. Okay. It's a pre-recorded presentation. It's difficult to hear that coming back. All right. So what risks do your clients have? What risks do your clients have when working with you? The first thing you want to look at is what are the risks involved? So in addition to money, of course, and time, wasting time, what other risks do they have by engaging you? You want to start making a list of those things. Include what is the penalty to your client or prospect of staying where they are right now. Alex Mandossian calls that the cost of inaction. The cost of inaction. So what is the cost of inaction your clients have by not taking steps? What is the difference that it should, could, or will make either tangibly or intangibly in their life? Both of these matter, right? Money, return on investment, time, tangible measurements. What about peace of mind? What about the ability to sleep at night? What about the ability to save their marriage? Right? There's a bunch of intangibles that have big impact and big events and big risks involved. My favorite story there, it was back when I used to work with Dale Carnegie. My boss was an old IBMer. For those of you that know IBM, Big Blue was its nickname, but it had another nickname that wasn't quite so attractive, inferior but marketable. And here was the thing. Nobody ever got fired for going with IBM. Nobody ever got fired for going with IBM. You went with the big dog. You never got fired for that. Even if they dropped the ball, you didn't get fired for that in a corporate setting. But there are plenty of people that got fired for going with the next IBM coming along. So the risks take different forms depending on who your client is and who the industry is. So you want to measure what are the corporate risks or family risks if this fails to produce results. Family risks. Many of our programs are $25,000 or $100,000 of investment. And we take great efforts to make sure that the spouses or significant others are on board before we begin working with someone, because if they fail and they invest that sort of money, it could literally end a family relationship. It could end that marriage. And so we want to make sure that we're clearly defining those things. So that's the first step in this process. If you're watching this as a rebroadcast, you're going to want to pause and start working on that right away. Absolutely. If you bought lifetime access and you're watching this in the portal, take time to do that. If you're watching it live, just take good notes and let's get on to the next part and, take Davin up on his amazing offer at VIA to get lifetime access. Next, what is the boldest possible guarantee? Okay. So what in dollars and cents is the best reported either testimonial or case study, measurable, quantifiable feedback you've gotten from a satisfied client or buyer? This is a Jay Abraham question if I've ever seen one. Jay is so brilliant at figuring out the potential impact. So this first step is, who's the best you've ever performed for? Like when it goes right, when everything lines up properly, what sort of return do they get in working with you? When I was a marketing consultant, my goal was to increase, I would sell 30% more sales. That was what I would sell. But my goal was always to double sales. And typically it was 90 days. But my best, we would double sales in 21 days, 22 days, 24 days. So I literally learned that I could guarantee to double sales in 30 days. Now, we'll get to the testing part later on, but when you test and measure, you'll find out that the boldest possible guarantee doesn't always get you the most possible responses. Many times it does, but I was a young kid at the time. It was too aggressive to promise that. It was just too aggressive. So I learned I got a better result by guaranteeing a 30% increase in sales than doubling sales. My goal was still to double sales. I wanted to always accomplish that, but I would guarantee 30%. So the first thing is, what's your best result? Like, what's the best you've done? Then make a list of all the things you'd be willing to do to compensate a customer if they did not find the transaction or purchase satisfactory. What are all the possible things you would do? If you're a real estate agent, you're not going to refund the purchase price on their home. That's just not realistic. But you might want to offer to resell their home for no commission, or help them buy a new home for no commission, or help them with the moving costs, or pay the mortgage on the old home until the new one sells. There's a bunch of different things you could offer beyond refunding their entire purchase. In some of the regulated industries, if you're watching in a financial services industry, very difficult to guarantee a financial return on investment. Whole separate discussion on how that's possible. People that manage our money can't guarantee us a return on our money. Something's wrong there. The rules are written by those guys, not by us. Because if they're written by us, we could totally allow that. And if they didn't get results, we'd get our money back. right? But the rules are obviously made by them to protect themselves. So you can't guarantee a financial return easily in the financial services industry, but you could guarantee peace of mind. You could define what peace of mind looks like. You could, one of the things that we often build in is if we drop the ball, we'll send you and your significant other on a getaway to Hawaii or to the spa, a day spa, or out for dinner to say we're sorry. See, that any of us could do. Refunding is not always practical or possible, or frankly, even legal, depending on the situation. So make a list of all the things you'd be willing to do to compensate a customer if you could help them. Now, next, thanks to the internet, what are your competitors' most powerful and superior guarantees? Look at them all. Find everyone who's directly or indirectly competing with you and see who's got the strongest possible guarantee. What are they offering? What are they throwing up in that situation for people to look at? Very important for you to do. Okay, so the best that's out there, because you want to be better. If you want to dominate your market, you want to be better than the best that's out there. Then, once you've done that, you create the boldest possible guarantee that you can. The boldest possible guarantee that you can. So this exercise, you're not figuring out how to fulfill it yet. We're going to get to that next. But you're figuring out what's the best possible offer you can make in this so powerful as you work. Okay. All right. Now, about figuring that, like these little duckies don't think when it's keeper. So what you need to do is what are key insurers industry different wisdom, skill, mentorship, in the crack when they're talking how it is to build all elements in program. See, when courses, nasty days you to know, percent of you lead a course, just a course on its own. You need skills, accountability, and mentorship if you're going to get a much, much higher completion rate. She gets 93% of her people to complete, and she's not satisfied. She wants to get to 100. I think it's just awesome. So we've invested a lot of time in learning from Wendy and what she's doing to build our programs up so that now we're getting 20, 40, 60%. Some are even higher than 60%. Our goal is to get up to where Wendy is at 93%. Remember, the industry norm is 3%. How do you do that? You build in skills. So not just the knowledge, but the skills to use it. You build in accountability. So they're holding each other accountable along the way. One of the worst things you can hear from a coach is, oh, it's not my responsibility. It's up to them. I can't control what they do. Yes, you can. You can build in accountability so they control each other and get it done. And you can also add in mentorship. What does mentorship look like? Masterminds are the greatest force for good for business on earth. If you're in a good, well-run, structured mastermind with people that are awesome and frankly that you're paying to be part of, they're the greatest force for good in business today, period. They're the greatest force for good in business today, period. Many of the people at this Super Summit are going to give you some amazing strategies. Many of them have masterminds. We do, Davin does, other people do. You definitely want to get involved. If you're not in a great mastermind, you should be in at least one. I'm in multiple masterminds and I lead multiple masterminds. Why? Because they're the greatest force for good. I need mentorship just like everyone else. You need mentorship as well. So do your clients. Your clients need it. So you need skills, accountability, and mentorship if you're selling wisdom or coaching others. And consider building in done for you and run for you components in your program. Done for you and run for you. Done for you, you're very familiar, right? You do it for them. Run for you is a term we coined that's beyond done for you. Our highest level program, our Embark Partner Program, we run the ads. We bring the clients in the funnels. We run the master classes. We run the strategy sessions. We collect the cash. We screen the candidates. We invite them to training. And then the authority takes over and does the training. And then we help them coach and fulfill that and build the skills, accountability, and mentorship in the back end. It's literally run for you. So the authority is just the authority, and we and our team do everything else around it. You can model that. If you can get better results for your clients, you can build that into your programs. You can build that into your business. You can build that into your construction operation and get even better results for everyone that's going through that. So done for you and run for you. Next up, this is the secret sauce. This is the weapon that'll get you over the top. You're going to want to anurag your plan. Anurag Gupta is the smartest business coach I know. His specialty is taking companies that 10 million a year to $1 billion a year, and he has a 100% success rate. Now, before you get too excited, if you don't listen to him, he fires your butt. So part of the reason he has a 100% success rate is if you're not listening, he kicks you out. But that's fair. That's fair. His first success story, if you're into yoga or yoga clothes, you'll know Lululemon, big global brand. He coached Chip Wilson from store one to $1 billion market cap. And he has a strategy that I call anuragging because I want to always remember where I got this idea. It's the best business idea I have ever learned. And it's the one way to guarantee you achieve every goal you ever set and for your clients to do the same. So let's get into it. You're using the wisdom of the smartest business coach I know. All right, you ready for this, everyone? You ready? You ready? Okay. The first thing you do is you take your goal and you double it. Right? So we've got a program. It's called $1 Million Book Launch. And that we're actually going to invite you to a masterclass that teaches you that whole strategy. But if you actually became a client with us, instead of $1 million, we double the goal to $2 million. The first thing we do, double the goal. Then, here's where it gets really good. Then you create 3 redundant strategies, each capable of achieving that double mark. So back to our book launch program example, it's called $1 Million Book Launch. Our goal is $1 million in sales. We double the goal to $2 million. Then we create 3 separate strategies, each capable of getting $2 million in sales. Each of them capable of getting $2 million in sales, and combine them in our marketing plan. Not right away, because we'd go nuts, but we roll it out over the 18 months. Now we're playing a game 6 times higher. Think back to the last major goal you set. Did you get 18% of the way there? Because if you did, you would anurag, you'd be there. You'd be there because that's 1/6, roughly 18%. Such a powerful, simple strategy. You're going to want to play this back because it took me a couple of times when I first heard this to realize how powerful it is. About half the audiences I share this with get it right away. About half don't. So if you're not sure what this was all about, definitely listen to it again. You're going to love it. So powerful in getting your goals done. All right, we're whipping along here. Next, you want to link payments to your client's results. Link payments to your client's results because then your outcomes are aligned. You're together. Remember, the purpose of this training was to get 9 times the prospects to raise their hand to say, tell me more, tell me more. By the way, you're not going to get 9 times the sales because you're going to screen and qualify way more when you're guaranteeing results. Because if you don't, you're going to get a bunch of really bad clients coming in that's not going to get results and you're going to waste all your time and effort. So you're going to screen more. You'll probably triple your sales with this approach, but 9 times your client prospects coming in the front door, right? So now here's one of the secret strategies we use. Link payments to the results. The easiest way is to be able to say something like this. We're so confident of getting you results that 75% of our entire fee is linked to it. Think about that. We're so confident of getting you results that 75% of our entire fee is linked to it. How powerful would that be? I'm going to give you an example from our $1 Million Book Launch program. This is the actual guarantee slide in our program. There's the viable program guarantee, no more expense guarantee, and $1 Million guarantee. It's a triple guarantee. Triple guarantee. See, guarantee number 1, you don't make the second payment. It's $25,000 to play the game with us, then another $25,000, but you don't make that second payment until you've generated $250,000 in program sales. Then the middle one is no expenses guarantee because this is a book launch. We don't nickel and dime them for anything. We just spell it out. We cover everything, ads, tech, editing, cover design, ISBN, blah, 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 blah. And then the last one is the most powerful one, the $1 million guarantee. You don't make the final $50,000. This whole program is $100,000, 25 upfront, 25 when we get to $250,000, and the other $50,000 when we get to $1 million. $1 million in sales. And you see the way we describe it down below, we're so confident in our model that if you qualify, we're financing 75% of your investment. It's all part of our triple guarantee. We're financing 75% of our investment. So you want to be that confident in your program to be able to say that to people and deliver on that. Hope that makes sense to everyone listening in. And then test and measure. Test and measure. Because here's the thing. You do not know how powerful it is until you get out there and talk to someone. Give an example of a realtor that was in one of our workshops, Kathleen Mongeon. This was years ago, actually, when I was first teaching this as part of a 2-day format. It turned out that one night we did this first part of the strategy, then we broke overnight and then finished it off the next day. So this was Saturday night. We finished off around 4:30, 5 o'clock. We got into the biggest possible guarantee, and we hadn't done any of the rest. And then we broke for the night, and that was their homework, was to work on that. And Kathleen comes in the next morning, and she's all excited. She's a fairly new realtor. She'd been a real estate secretary for a number of years, but had only been selling real estate for about 2 years at the time. And she said, I got to share a story. I had a listing presentation last night, and so I presented the new guarantee. I said, we weren't done the training. She says, yeah, I know, but I figured I'd test it. I said, great, what happened? She said, well, I decided that the best possible thing I could do was guarantee a double-ended deal. Now, for those that don't know real estate, a double-ended deal is I'll sell your home, and then I'll help you buy your new home, and I'll double-end the deal. So it's the most lucrative transaction for a realtor. But the scary part is what happens if you buy the new home before the old home sells, right? That's the risk. So she's came up with a guarantee that, they're ready for this? I'll sell your home for 95% or more of the listed price within 30 days or less, or I'll pay your mortgage on the old place until it sells because you bought the new place with me as well. Okay, pretty bold. First person she presented it to said, wow, that's fantastic. Let's go. Wasn't even planning on using her for the purchase side. Now he did for both. She made $65,000 on the two sides of that transaction. Now to her, it wasn't a big risk because she only listed homes at fair prices. So 95% or better of the listing price happened to every single home she did because she didn't play the games that a lot of the young men in her office did, which is do a fake listing up here and then lower it down here and then lower it down here and then finally get it to fair price just so they could get the listing and then several months later sell it. She didn't play that game. She thought that was abuse of a client. I do too. And so she would never do that. Number one. Number two, she did it always within 30 days. So for her, her average was 21 days. So it wasn't a big risk at all for her, but it sounded amazing. So you got to get out there and you got to test it. And you need to get prospects to give you feedback. By the way, it's not always better to have bolder guarantees. I was telling you earlier, when I was a young marketing guy, offering double the sales scared people off because, frankly, by the time they called me, they were desperate for more sales. So double, these were bricks and mortar stores. Double was so big, it scared them. They didn't understand. They didn't believe. So we went to 30%. We went to 30%. Years later, I was building indoor golf training centers for the sport of golf, and we'd come up with this amazing golf methodology that literally guaranteed results. That was crazy enough for golf. What was even crazier was it was a 40% reduction in handicap in a 3-month program. For you golfers out there, you're going, no, it wasn't. No way. That's, by the way, 3 to 5 years of golf training in the normal training world of golf. 3 to 5 years we could do in 3 months. 40% reduction in handicap. Well, we found when we tested it, no one would believe the 40%. It was bad enough that we were guaranteeing results in golf, which nobody would do. 40% was crazy talk. So we lowered the guarantee to 25%. That sold like hotcakes. People loved it. That was bold enough that they would say, yep, I'm interested. Yep, I'm interested. Let's go. But not crazy enough that it turned them off. So you want to test this and get feedback as you go through. And then set up systems to track the increase in prospects raising their hands. We use masterclasses and strategy sessions, so we literally count the strategy session percentage of the attendees. We look at retention rate in the masterclass. What percentage of people are there at the end 3 hours later? Our most popular masterclass, which I'm going to tell you about in a bit because we're going to invite you to come and watch it for free. The last time we did it, we had 115% 3 hours later. We literally had more people 3 hours later than we started watching that masterclass. And by the way, when we do that, we measure that 15 minutes in because we get late arrivals like everyone else. And then we count it, and then we count it 3 hours later. We're proud of our retention numbers. Our lowest ever was 93%. 115% though is crazy good. We're super excited about that. It's our most popular masterclass, so I'm not surprised that we're doing so good on that. But here's the thing. You want to track and measure. Whatever it is, you want to track and measure what your data is so that you can find that on your own. All right? And then optimize, optimize, and optimize. Try being more aggressive. Try being less aggressive. Depends on your situation and depends on what you're offering. But here's my promise to you. If you do that, you will find this is the greatest force multiplier in business. And it's a term from the military. I don't have a better term. So people that are non-military types out there, I apologize. I've sought for years to find a better term. And if you have a better term that works, that's a non-military term for this, please let me know. But it's a very specific term. A force multiplier is something that's such a game changer. It's a massive competitive advantage. The B-52 bomber that could fly around the world and drop bombs and then fly out of the way and never get hit was a force multiplier, right? Strategic risk reversal is a force multiplier for you and your business. That's it. And now I want to invite you out to learn a bit more if you want. If you, especially this, if you're interested in leveraging your authority with a business book that actually earns you money, come join us for our most popular masterclass. How to use your next book to build a 7-figure business, even if you can't market your way out of a wet paper bag. And I will be happy to share a 3-hour deep dive training. We do this live once a month. So anytime you see this, you'll have another opportunity to come and join us. And we'll teach you how to build a 7-figure business in 3 hours, leveraging your next business book. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time.